Good afternoon. It's as they say, it's been a minute. Ran into a friend of mine this afternoon, inspired me to get back online and crank out a few videos. So I thought, what a perfect opportunity to sit down afternoon here on a Sunday and share a small story and a little bit of knowledge that I'd like to pass forward. So recently I was on a podcast with a good friend of mine from Germany, which I just shared on Facebook today, and we were talking about a few things, and one of the subjects was around, looking for, knowledge, or looking for, extra stuff all the time. Of course, we were talking it from a combative point, being that, I was a professional fighter, and it's an interesting topic. So before I go any further, I just want to share what that kind of looks like and how that can be, and what message I really want to deliver for you today. So earlier in my career, I had trainers, I had coaches, I got knowledge along my way, but I never was really seeking and thirsty to just, to look for new ways to make things work for myself. I was obviously just continuously training year after year, winning fight after fight, getting world title after world title. And of course I was learning skills from different coaches along my journey, as I needed to, of course, to better myself. But there become a point where learning new techniques or learning more skills wasn't necessarily required. It was more about refining the stuff that I knew, okay? Refining the stuff that I already knew. So this was most important part. So when I spoke on the podcast, I mentioned on there about later in my career, 2013, particularly when I was not fighting Muay Thai and went to Glory, I started to look outside of myself, looking for what, Tyrone Spong, all these opponents that I was going to come up against, what they were doing and how they were training, and what drills they were doing and what combinations they were doing, and what sparring partners they were having, and what they were doing here and here and here and here and there. So then I was thinking, okay, I need to compete against that level. I need to find this, change this, find that, change that. And I was looking for stuff outside of myself. Now, it's good to upgrade your skills. It's good to constantly evolve and grow, especially for those mixed martial artists. They have to learn so many different disciplines, from the striking component to the wrestling to the jiu-jitsu. There's just so many different levels. So of course you need to keep learning more skills, but there comes a time where learning new skills or looking for new skills all the time becomes detrimental to you. And that's what happened to me. I've never really spoke about that before, but that's what happened to me, where I was looking to find out how to be a better kickboxer when I should have just focused on being a fighter, which was just be carnage, just pull the trigger and know that I could do what I could do. And I did that for 10, 12 years before that moment. I never even looked and I never even questioned myself. So you've all heard knowledge is power. Now, I like to rephrase that and say application of knowledge is true power. It's the application. So you can go and seek and search and go find so many other different techniques to add to your game, and it can add some value, and it can also be detrimental because you're looking to add stuff to something that maybe doesn't need to be added. Therefore you're doubting your ability, you're doubting the actual true source within you. And what you need to revert back to is the application of what you already know. So true application is true power. Knowing how to actually deliver a technique in real battle is power. So while knowledge is power, it's actually the application of knowledge that will become the true power. So I encourage people that while it's good to search for more knowledge, don't forget the knowledge you already have within you. And that doesn't always just mean technique. That can be just pure passion, pure will to win, the drive, all those things that got you to the point where you're already at. So when looking for extra attention or extra techniques, be careful on how far you go down that path of trying to add so many things in, because you can add, like I said before, knowledge, but can you apply it? Can you apply it? And is that adding taking something away from the application of what you already have that's solid and real, and you know it, and your body knows it, and you're comfortable with it? Is it taking something from that part away from you and actually weakening you? So of course I'm an advocate for learning new skills, for adding new tools to your fight game or business game, or whatever it is that you're going to change this message over and turn it into that. Of course I'm an advocate for that. I teach seminars all the time and teach people how to use elbows. But one of the things that I teach in my elbow seminars is I teach essence. I teach spirit. Because without that, the knowledge doesn't mean anything. And the spirit is what gets the technique and makes it become real. By constantly applying it, so therefore now it is actually within you as a true technique. The application of the technique, you can actually use it in battle. So be careful, from my experience, with looking for too much knowledge outside of what you already have. Fine-tune what you have. Add little bits along the way. Of course, your experiences will gain knowledge through what? Through the actual doing of it. And come to a great place of knowing that you are enough and you have enough strength within you with what you already have to be a champion.